Welcome to the Middle Ground Podcast, a place for news and opinion for moderates. George Santos announced he isn't running for re-election after a damning report released by the House Ethics Committee. Look, say what you want about George Santos, but he's horrible. I mean, he makes Trump look like George Washington. I cannot tell a lie about my whole life, just most of it. Israel today, for the second day in a row, raided Al-Shifa Hospital, which is now being evacuated. Now look, if you're listening to, outlets such as NBC News, they'll tell you that Israel claims there is Hamas located there. But they can't independently confirm it. You hear that a lot from, these media outlets. But think about that. The United States intelligence agrees with the IDF's findings. According to these outlets, Israel is randomly raiding a hospital for, I guess, the fun of it. Remember that Israeli airstrike that killed 500 people in the hospital? These outlets originally just repeated the narrative that Hamas released. They also found more than one hostage near the hospital. And those are the headlines that I wanted to highlight. I also wanted to highlight a poll that I recently found. This poll says that 60% of Muslims in America agree or support the attack that Hamas did on Israel. The one that slaughtered 1,400 Israeli civilians, and they took 240 civilian hostages. So, this idea that the two sides are just equal in this. Look, Muslims aren't bad. They don't deserve to be killed. I don't believe in discrimination against anyone. No group. But, Israelis don't agree with the slaughtering. Jews don't agree with the slaughtering of Palestinian civilians. But the fact that Muslims, for some reason, because I guess that they identified as the Palestinians are the oppressed, and the Israelis and the Jews are the oppressors. So everything that the victims do is perfectly fine, it's resistance, and everything that Israel does is just oppressing. That's just I find it very scary to me as a Jew. And it should be scary to everyone. We have to be educating people here in Israel and Palestine, everywhere, what's really going on. Hamas and Israel are not equal. There's no moral equivalencies on both sides over here. Liberals who all love Palestine and they love the Palestinians, they love to talk about LGBTQ rights, right? Now, which places in the world have the worst treatment of LGBTQ people? It's all Muslim countries, right? You wouldn't be allowed to be gay in Gaza. You'd be killed. The same way these innocent... And the fact that 6 in 10 American Muslims agreed that if I was living a peaceful life in the south of Israel, or anywhere in Israel, because if they could have gotten there, they would have killed them, that I should just be killed. That it would be okay for me to be killed. I find that it's very, very scary, if anything. Okay, I just want to move on. Keep this lighter topic: politics. Let's move on to our brand new political segments. We'll be adding segments every day. Current president and future scarecrow Joe Biden is only at 27% in a recent primary poll of New Hampshire. Let's discuss it in a new segment called Here's the Deal.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal.
And here's the deal.
Because here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
Let's talk about the crisis at the border. Here's the deal. First of all,
Recent polling of New Hampshire by Emerson College, which I believe the poll was released on last Tuesday, of the New Hampshire primary, showed that Biden leads his nearest opponent by just 12%, which is bad for an incumbent president in a primary poll. However, this is a big but. We should note that President Biden is not on the ballot in that election. This is because the DNC changed the order of primaries to South Carolina being the first, from New Hampshire being the first. Now, New Hampshire did not cooperate, and they are still holding their primary election for the Democrat first. So therefore, Biden chose not to be on the ballot in New Hampshire. Now, Democrats are launching a write-in campaign where they're to campaign to write in President Biden's name in New Hampshire. But the interesting part of the poll is that Dean Phillips, the congressman from Minnesota who's running for president as a Democrat, who I would love to discuss, but not today, maybe at a different time, is in this poll, he's at 15%. That's pretty good for someone whose name no one knew 1 month ago. No one knew his name. And how many of you really still know his name? So that's 15% is pretty damn good. Now we'll close off this segment for today, even though I have a lot to say about Biden still. But I'll just close off that segment. I have a lot to say about his age, a lot to say about his popularity. And I can give you a hint about those. One number is double the other number. So I guess that brings an end to this segment. Our next segment is called Fascists and Friends. And it's kind of a dig at Fox News and their constant fondling of, Trump. We'll begin by discussing a recent show that one of the Fox hosts, a woman by the name of Laura Ingraham, had. In the show, she criticizes President Biden for meeting with and going to dinner with because he met with President Xi of China. Which, by the way, I'll point out that every president met with the head of China, going back to Nixon, including Trump. So I'm not really sure about that whole criticism. Yeah, he's a dictator, but Trump met with Kim Jong-un. I mean, if Trump could meet with and be friends with Putin, I mean, the hypocrisy of Fox News. I mean, I could spend years talking about that. Anyone could spend years. I mean, Jon Stewart spent many years talking about the hypocrisy of Fox News. On YouTube, you can find a lot of his old daily shows. A lot of them are very, very funny, even and poignant still to this day, even though they were discussing events that happened years ago, 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. But anyways, so they were criticizing Biden for meeting with Xi, and a couple minutes later, she criticizes Biden for calling Xi a dictator because it's, I guess, a bad diplomatic move. I mean, at least she's not calling him smart. At least she's not calling Kim Jong-un and Hezbollah smart. I mean, it's not even, at least I don't see a problem with calling Xi a dictator, except that it's a little bit hurts China's feelings, but I think they'll get over it. They've been called a lot worse. Now, I saw on Fox News they were interviewing one of the people they have on from the Trump White House. Kayleigh McEnany, whatever her name is. And she basically said the difference between this meeting with Biden and the meetings that Trump had with Xi was because he projected strength. One of these non-defined phrases that they have for Trump. I mean, what even does that mean? Projecting strength? And also, look, say what you want about Trump, and I do. He's not strong. There's nothing strong about him. He doesn't do exercise. I mean, he's fat. Even Democrats, a lot of Democratic voters believe that Trump's the strong guy. He's not. He's weak. He's as weak as they come. But name me one strong thing that he did. Except for saying crazy stuff. That doesn't make you strong. That just makes you crazy. I mean, when you see a homeless guy on the street who's clearly not mentally okay, and he tells you about how strong he is, you're not going to go on and being like, you know, that guy, he could run the country. That guy, he could defeat our enemies by projecting all the strength that he projects. My button is bigger than your button. Well, it needs to be in order to hold his shirt closed. Yeah, so signing off for tonight, my fellow middle grounders. Stay strong and stay in the middle. Thank you.